The lumbar plexus can't be seen here. Where can I see the lumbar plexus? I know a model I can see it on. Right here. The lumbo and sacral plexus are best seen on this model right here. Here's the lumbar plexus. Here's the sacral plexus. I'm going to turn this. Sacral plexus right there. Matter of fact, that's the sciatic nerve coming off of it. This is the lumbar plexus right here. This is the only model where I can see the lumbar plexus. I can't see it on the torso. These iliopsoas muscles are covering it up. Over here, we've cut away that iliopsoas to see it.
So those are really thick. Is that, are they thick? Is that, can you point to it one more time?
This is the lumbar plexus right here.
And the sacral?
And the sacral's right here.
Oh.
Yeah, it is thick. Yep. And they run together. You're going to say, Kiggins, this part of the lumbar plexus runs into my sacral plexus. You'd be right. Yep. Matter of fact, L4 is shared by both plexi. Sacral plexus goes from L4 to S4. Lumbar plexus goes from T12 to L5. So L4 and L5 are shared by both plexuses. All right. First nerve off the lumbar plexus. Oh, by the way, you need to know which nerves come off which plexus. Sometimes I'll label these nerves and I'll say from which plexus does it arise. Now on some of these models you can't see the plexus, you just got to know. All right, so the first nerve right here. Right here. Wow. Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, femoral. Okay, 360. This is the iliohypogastric nerve right here. Right here. 360. Right next to it is the ilioinguinal nerve, 361. So iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, 360 and 361. Ready? Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal. You can see them side by side. Any questions? Did you see them, Michelle? Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal. Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal. The femoral nerve is next. This is the femoral nerve right here. You probably remember this is the femoral artery. Well, you can see the femoral nerve is right next to it. Femoral artery, femoral nerve, femoral nerve. 362. Michelle says 362. She's right. 362. Here, you can also see it here, right next to the femoral artery. So this nerve and this nerve is the femoral nerve. All right? Femoral. The saphenous nerve. There's the saphenous vein. I don't see the nerve there. I'm looking, folks. I actually didn't write a number for it, so I must not have found it. I did not write a number for the torso, so I must not have found it. But don't cross it off yet. I can probably find it on the small leg. I'll come back to saphenous. Next nerve. By the way, it'll be right in this area because there's the saphenous vein. It'll be right in here. Obturator nerve. That's the next one. Obturator nerve. Right here. Now, what I want to remind you of, I'll give you the number in a second. What I want to remind you of is this. Then it'll be easy for you to find.
Would that be on that model, the saphenous nerve right there, on this one right in front?
That big one?
Yeah, on the large leg, the saphenous nerve is number 60. That's it. Very good. Rob found it right there, right next to the saphenous vein. The saphenous nerve is number 60 on the large leg. Okay, I want to remind you of something from Bio 203. See this hole right here that my fingers are in? Remember that's called the obturator foramen? You see where that is? Right here. Right here. So I better have an obturator nerve right in here. And if I look right here, I have an obturator nerve right there, and it's number 376. I'll turn it towards you in a second. 376 right there. Michelle. That nerve right there. Right there.
Okay.
Alright? Right there, obturator. Okay, so before I turn this and recap all of these, iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, femoral, obturator.
Now, that nerve, would it go more on the internal or external part, or would it be both?
Internal part of the obturator. Yep. Approaches the obturator frame from
I didn't
internally.
know, did it go to the external?
Yeah, but it approaches it from the internal. So to recap here, I'll do it twice more. Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, femoral, obturator. One more time. Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, femoral, and obturator. All right? Did you get it? Okay, next nerve. Okay, let's do the sacral plexus. I can see the sacral plexus on the torso. It's right here. It's 377 on the torso. 377. Right there, sacral plexus. But remember, I also already showed you on this model, the sacral plexus is right here. All of that right there. All right, sacral plexus. So you can see the sacral plexus a couple different places. All right, coming off the sacral plexus, did I give you the number already? 377 on the torso, right? The sciatic nerve is the major nerve coming off the sacral plexus. And I can see it right there, but it hasn't really thinned down to the sciatic yet. So I'm probably going to have to see it underneath the glutes. And there it is. That's the sciatic nerve right there. 549 on the torso. The sciatic nerve is right there, and that's 549 on the torso. If you wear a wallet in your back pocket and you're sitting on your wallet all the time, that wallet compresses your sciatic nerve against your piriformis muscles and your superior and inferior gemellus. And that's why your leg falls asleep when you're sitting on your wallet. And sciatica is inflammation of that nerve right there. And you'll just start walking, and all of a sudden you'll start limping because your nerve swells, and with sciatica it periodically inflames. Anyone in here have sciatica? Okay, I do, not really frequently, but sometimes I get sciatica. You feel like an idiot because you're walking around, bebop, and all of a sudden you go, oh, and people are looking at you. What are you doing? And it feels like someone just stuck a knife in your ass, your gluteus, and you start limping, and people are looking at you, and they're like, man, it just swells up for some reason, it just inflames, and then you start limping. Yeah. Tibial nerve. Okay, now we have to go to the leg. We're done with the torso at this point.
Why are some of them so, like, why that seems relatively big? Is that true, the sciatic nerve, or no?
Yeah, the sciatic nerve actually bifurcates into two relatively big nerves right after.
So it's got a lot of neurons?
Yep.
Any particular reason?
No, it's the major nerve coming off the sacral plexus, and it's just a big nerve, man. You guys know what it goes to, right? This greater sciatic notch. Remember, this is called the greater sciatic notch? That sciatic nerve comes right out of this notch and runs right down your leg. So the sacral plexus is in here. The sciatic nerve runs out of the greater sciatic notch and down the back of your leg.
And is it the entire length of the leg? Or
No, yeah, but it bifurcates into, we're actually going to learn that right now. So here's your sciatic nerve right here. 63 on the large leg. That's your sciatic nerve right there. And you can see it start to bifurcate, right? Okay. Next nerve. Tibial nerve. Right here's the tibial nerve. 64. Now you're going to say to me, you're going to say, why don't I call that the popliteal nerve? I do as soon as it's behind the knee. All right? So this tibial nerve becomes the popliteal nerve behind the knee because this is the popliteal fossa. And then it becomes the posterior tibial right here. All right? Any questions about that?
But it's the same nerve.
Same darn nerve, named differently by where it goes.
So we only have to know that it's the tibial nerve that's down there and posterior.
Oh, then you just have to know it as tibial. And by the way, the posterior tibial wouldn't be until you're down here. This is called the tibial, popliteal, posterior tibial.
Is it gonna wait till it gets right on the muscle of the same name?
Yeah, you got it. So the 64 is the tibial nerve. Okay, next. Anytime you see the word fibular, you can also use the word peroneal. So I see that I wrote common fibular nerve. Your key might say common peroneal nerve. Peroneal and fibular mean the same thing. Anytime you see the word peroneal or fibular, you can interchange those words. So common fibular nerve could be called the common peroneal nerve, and your key actually might. Let me give you the number, and you can look up what the key says. The common fibular nerve is this right here, 65. You're going to say to me, Kiggins, it's going to the outside of the foot where my fibula is. The tibia is the medial side, the fibula is the lateral side. This nerve is going to the lateral side. Yeah, it's going towards the fibula. So 65 is the common fibular nerve, sometimes called the common peroneal. Who's looking at a key?
It does on the large leg one.
The large leg calls it common peroneal. So I'm warning you that anytime you see the word fibular, you can say peroneal. All right? Common, where am I? Common fibular. The deep fibular nerve, right here. Now let me show you something. I took a muscle off to get there. So here's your common fibular, right here, 65. I lose it. I lose it right there. Whoop. I put this muscle back in. I lose it. I can't see it anymore. Can't see it anymore. Where did it go? I take off my extensor digitorum. There it is. There's my deep fibular nerve. Some keys will call that peroneal profundus. Deep fibular nerve, another way of saying it.
So would the top part be the superficial one then?
Oh, and then, okay, so is that next? And then, if that's the deep peroneal nerve, is there one that stays on the surface? Yeah, right here. Right here. This nerve right here, number 67, probably, right?
Yes.
See, but is 67 naming the extensor digitorum muscle or the nerve? Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's the
that was
muscle.
the
Yeah.
muscle.
So the number for the superficial peroneal or superficial fibular is 67 right here, right on this muscle. 67. And if this is back in here, this is the superficial fibular, superficial peroneal. That's the deep. Deep. Okay, where am I? Okay, now keep going with the video because I'm almost done. Off the sacral plexus, I don't know why this was put back in wrong, but you need to take this out anyway. You got to take out the uterus and bladder anyway. This is a female pelvic model. All right, orient you. This is the rectum. This is the vagina. That's the urethra. I got to tell you a story. I have a former soldier of mine. I won't tell you his name because Georgie knows him. And he says to me, he said, "Females have 3 holes?" I said, "Yeah. What did you think?" I was just shocked that he didn't know that. Okay, that's all right. No matter. Anyway, this is the rectum. That's the vagina. That's the urethra. All right. This is the sciatic, or this is the sacral plexus. Right in here, you can see it. This is the sciatic nerve. You can see it. Now, S2, S3, and S4. S2, S3, and S4, there's a saying. The saying is S2 and S3 and S4 keep the penis off the floor. I put it in your lecture that one time. I said it's going to be an off-color saying. Here it is. It becomes this nerve right here called the pudendal nerve. It goes to your genitalia. This pudendal nerve goes to your genitalia. This is the nerve that we care about snipping when you're having your prostate gland removed because you suffer from prostate cancer. Now back in the day, 70% of the time, the doctors clipped that nerve accidentally and you suffered from erectile dysfunction. Nowadays, robots do the surgery and only 30% of the time do they clip this pudendal nerve and cause erectile dysfunction. 70% of the time, you can still get erections without pills. So now the surgery is not as dangerous when it comes to whether you can have sex or not. All right, so that's the pudendal nerve right there. All right, then that pudendal nerve bifurcates into all of these nerves right here, and they actually make perfect sense. Now that's on video. That's not good. All right.
I'll edit that
These
out.
nerves make perfect sense. I'm going to point them out to you. let's go in order. The inferior rectal nerve. Well, oh, golly. Okay, let's not do it again.
You're missing the piece.
These are magnets, by the way. There, magnets. So just so you know, these are magnets. Now, I won't do it this time. I'm going to hold them both. What's the first nerve? Inferior rectal nerve. This is the rectum. This is the inferior rectal nerve right here. All three of these, really. This one right here, and all three branches. Inferior rectal nerve. Right there, there, and there. All right. Perineal nerve. This next nerve right here is the perineal nerve. What the perineum is, if you're not aware, is the perineum is an imaginary diamond running from the ischial tuberosity back to the coccyx, back to the ischial tuberosity, up to the pubic bone. That diamond right there. And you can see that that imaginary diamond, or rhomboid, or what you want to call it, contains the clitoris, the urethra, the vagina, the rectum. That whole area is called the perineum. The perineal nerve is right there. You can see it gives rise to nerves that run towards the labia and run towards the clitoris. Gives rise to those nerves. The posterior labial nerve is this one. Here's the labia. Well, it's actually muscle around the. It's not actually not the lips itself, but these nerves run to the labia. There's the labia right there. This is the nerve that causes the Skene glands and the periurethral glands and the greater vestibular bulb to secrete and swell. So if you ever wondered, if you're a guy and you ever wondered this, or even if you're a girl and you ever wondered this, that during sexual intercourse, before, during, and maybe slightly for a little while after, the labia swelled and were even more sensitive to the touch than previous, it's because you have a vestibular bulb in there that fills with blood and swells. So that's the labial nerve right there. All right, next. Dorsal clitoral nerve, or dorsal clitoral nerve. Right here it is. This is the clitoris right here. Now you're going to say that looks like the anterior side of the clitoris. This is the clitoris or clitoris. That's the dorsal clitoral nerve. It's not the anterior side. With humans, the clitoris and the penis are pendulate. There's the penis right there. Alright? So it's pendulate, it hangs down. Even though it's hanging down and you're looking right there, that's not the anterior side, that's the dorsal side. The anterior side of the penis, if the penis was sticking upwards, that's the anterior side. Now, I know that I suck at art, but that is the dorsal side of the clitoris or clitoris. That's the dorsal clitoral nerve.
This is the first I've ever seen a stick figure drawn.
Any questions about those nerves? And then the coccygeal nerve. Oh, you can see it right here. Right in there, you can see the coccygeal nerve. No number on it. Right in there. But you can also see it on the torso. And it's this nerve right. Didn't I tell you the coccygeal plexus was 384? Well, the coccygeal nerve is 384. I mean, it's the same thing. The two coccygeal nerves become a plexus. And that coccygeal nerve is 384 right there.
It's on that one too, isn't it? The
Yeah. Yep. Except for, here's where it would be though. Let me point out something. On here, the center one is the filum terminale. The coccygeal one is right here. Remember, you have 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So you have a pair of coccygeal nerves right there and there. The center one is the filum terminale. These two are coccygeal. Yep.
Is the filum terminale an actual nerve, or is that just fibrous tissue?
It's connective tissue.
It is.
It's actually an extension of the pia mater.
Oh.
Right? Okay. That's all of them.